2, shining the light on our community for this wonderful early morning here in Australia, and in the evening, the afternoon, with our beautiful guest, Cortney, who is coming back and joining us again. Thank you so much, Cortney, for coming back. I really enjoy chatting with you. I love your passion about what you do and all the different topics. And today we're talking to something that is very dear to my heart too, very, very special, such a powerful aspect to have in your life, and that is building confidence through your body, like building confidence in your body, being, body confident. So thank you ever so much for joining us.
Thank you so much for having me today. This is a subject I'm really excited about too. I feel like I started learning about it just a few years ago in a concrete way, and started intertwining into my business along the way, and with friends and with my kids and all the things. So it's really exciting to be able to share it with everybody also.
Yeah, which is wonderful, and like I said, I'm honored and really excited to talk about it. Looking forward to everything that you have to share. Just let me introduce you a little bit for everyone who's listening either on the live or the replay, for those who haven't heard you speak before. So your main passion, your main business is as an exercise physiologist, living and working in Hudson Valley of New York, which would be beautiful. We were just chatting that it's about to snow. That would be absolutely amazing. And you focus on somatic business coaching as well, virtual personal training. We do need to talk about that, and in-home retreats. So tell us more, Cortney, about yourself, about your journey and how you got to where you are now, but really in particular, like getting confident in your body, building confidence, especially, we live in a world of Instagram influencers. If you don't look like this, if you don't fit into that box, then, you don't have a lot of, you can develop a lot of shame, a lot of regret, a lot of insecurities if you don't fit in that box, if you listen to everything else that's around us. So how did you build confidence in your body on your journey?
So I feel like it's important to call attention to the fact that this could mean a lot of different things to a lot of different people. For some people, it can be looks and appearance. For some people, it can be just like full on like self-confidence in the boardroom with a new client, with a partner, in a so-called friends circle that maybe isn't full of friends, but acquaintances that, are you're trying to fit in rather than belong. You don't maybe feel like you belong there.
Yes.
And in your health as well. And of course, they're all intertwined. They're not things that you can completely separate, but they're things that you can focus on in one direction or towards the other direction. And I guess maybe I'll try to hit on the different ones and how we can kind of build confidence in the different pieces, if that is cool for everybody.
Yes, absolutely.
Awesome. So let's address, I think, health and wellness first. Confidence in your body in terms of, because I don't know if anybody else has gone through this. I'm sure many of us have in this group in particular, because we are all on such a healing journey so intentionally, I think, in this group. But health-wise, having the confidence in your body for your body to heal itself. About 7 years ago, I got Lyme's disease here in the United States, which is rampant, especially in the area that I'm in. It's very, very common. But I also had a 1-year-old at the time. She was nursing an extravagant number of times a day. She was waking up probably every 2 hours at night, and I was completely sleep deprived for that whole entire year. She was probably the hardest baby. I have 3 children. I think she was the hardest baby in that respect that I had, like just total sleep deprivation, and I just couldn't hack it. So I was already really depleted from carrying that pregnancy, from nursing for that year, from not getting sleep. And I was still running, I was still active, I was still pushing myself to do stuff. I had actually just completed a half marathon, my first and so far last half marathon. And that was on June 16th, or no, not June 16th. Her birthday was June 16th, but it was somewhere around there, like June 17th, maybe. It was Father's Day for us weekend. And just to give you an idea of the timeline, it was around the middle of June that I ran this race, 13.1 miles. And then by the beginning of July, July 4th weekend, our Independence Day, so that's less than a month, I felt like I couldn't do anything. I tried to run on July 4th weekend, and I was like, God, it's really hot out here. Maybe that's why I feel so like my body's just completely drained. Like it just is not going to move in this way. No matter what I do, I just can't push past this. It was like having sludge in my veins.
Yes.
And then I got home, and a couple of days later, maybe a week later, I tried again. And I couldn't make it more than a mile again, perhaps even less. And I was like, you know what? It's hot out again. But I just like, I felt funny, and I felt like, again, sludge. And I also felt like I had literal bugs in my blood.
Yes.
And it turned out I did. I had these spirochetes in my blood, and they were just trashing my system, right? They were like, oh, opportunity here. Like I landed in the right body for this. If this body is not functioning properly, I can just take over.
Yes.
And it went past the body symptoms to the brain and brain fog, and I couldn't count past 4 without losing my place. I couldn't add, subtract, definitely don't ask me to divide. I'm still, like 7 years later, and I feel good now, but like still working on getting math back. And of
Yes.
course, like the depressive symptoms as well, and like semi-suicidal thoughts and things that were just like, whoa, like what is happening here? Like my cognitive brain, one of them was like, what the hell is happening? And the other one was like, no, if we just do this, we'll rest. I think I might have had 3 brains at the time, like
Yes.
the cognitive Courtney brain, the sick Courtney brain, and the higher self Courtney brain. You know what I mean?
Yes. Totally.
And I couldn't hear the higher self Courtney brain at all. It was just between the other two. And so from then on, I was sick for a solid 5 years.
Mhm.
And at times it would be sick in bed for a week. For 3 days, it would be 20 hours. And then after that, I would, have a little bit more energy. Maybe I would be in bed 15 hours, and you know what I mean? Taper off until like I could do stuff. But I couldn't do a lot. And I really lost faith and confidence in my body's ability to do anything active. If I tried, even years after I got bit and diagnosed, if I tried to run or tried to bicycle or tried to do anything, I would be sick in bed,
Mhm.
down, out for the count. And I was like, okay, well, maybe I just can't do anything anymore. Maybe this is it for me. And so that confidence in my body was just like completely gone.
Yeah.
And it took a combination of things, and also recognizing and talking to people and starting to surround myself with people who either understood or were on a more spiritual path.
Mhm.
And yoga for me was really huge in this, in particular, like warm yoga, warm hot yoga,
Yes.
because I was cold all the time. This sweater is like a wool, like actually from Ireland sweater. And I wore this like all the time. I still do. It's so warm. But I would wear this like to bed with a hat and socks and a down comforter. Like, and my husband would be in his underwear, you know what I mean? Like that's how cold it was. And so to be in this beautiful hot room, moving my body in a way that didn't make me sick, and being able to start to take back what I loved, which was movement, and see like, oh, okay, I can find healing movement. There is healing movement. It's not going outside and going for a run. Okay, and it, for years I couldn't do it ever. And then it was just in the winter, and now I can run again in the winter. So
It's good.
uh, it's definitely changing, but you have to have the belief and the confidence that you are in control,
Yes.
even with the stuff that you're not in control of. You are in control of your health, because you're in control of your mind. And when you're in control of your mind and your mindset, you can start to take the steps physically and mentally to start to heal your body, and your body can start to
Yes.
heal itself from the inside out. So
Yes.
then it's just about giving yourself the building blocks to do that, right? And the building blocks for me during sickness were yoga, gentle exercise in a nice warm room.
Mhm.
They were therapy, like going to a
Mhm.
regular therapist, every week, starting to surround myself with more positive people, people
Mhm.
who are not complaining about they might acknowledge that they're not feeling well, but they're not sitting there
Com-
complaining as a
Complaining
status
about it.
symbol, right?
Mm.
Um, Finding the foods that I'm eating to be maybe inadequate, and one, changing the way that I eat in terms of more organic, free range, eating the natural diet of the animals. If I'm eating animal products, eating as organic, as local as I can, sourcing better, because if we're eating factory farmed meat, we're actually consuming inflammatory,
Thanks.
molecules,
Yes.
because they're freaked out. They live a horrible, horrible life. They have all these stress hormones in their body.
Yes.
All those chemicals
I
that
going
our
to us.
bodies create, right, are all still
Yes.
in that meat,
Yes.
right? So we're consuming that. And so it's becoming knowledgeable about what you're putting in, on, and around your body and mind.
Yes.
And you can slowly start to pick one thing and then pick another thing, and you can start to build yourself back up. And then, like, high quality supplementation. If you caught my doTERRA talk, I love doTERRA, and they've got great high quality supplements and wonderful, wonderful oils. And they, the essential oils are the flavor of your food, right? It's just that we've put them in these little bottles, and we've given you this power to just put them in a roller and roll them on. Like I would roll them on my lymph nodes. Anytime I felt like any little twinge of anything, I'd be rolling my salad dressing blend all over. Smelled like salad dressing, because it's oregano, it's lemon, it's maybe marjoram, it's tea tree, it's frankincense, so you end up smelling like an
Yeah.
Italian
I
deli,
hear
but
you on that. Yes.
delicious. You smell delicious.
Yes.
But like finding those little things that each one builds on the next, and not to mention the emotional properties of all of those oils as well. So you're getting emotional benefit from the yoga, from the therapy, from the oils, from the good food, and then everything just starts to really build. So flipping the script, if you're not feeling well and you're saying like, oh, I keep getting sick, I can't believe this, oh my gosh, it got me again, oh God, everybody look, like, can you just commiserate with me?
Yeah.
Like my heart goes out to people who are in that space, but I also want to say, cut it out. Cut it
Exactly.
out.
Exactly.
I love you,
Yeah.
but cut it out. You have to, because if you don't, you're going to end up in the cycle forever. I have one friend right now who, she's the sweetest thing, single mom, love her to death. But she is so sick. She's been sick for 2 months now, with like icky stuff and serious problems, like underlying,
Issues.
issues, circulatory problems, heart problems, whatever. And then getting sickness on top of sickness on top of sickness, and both of her kids going through the same thing. And it's just this vicious cycle. And then, posting pictures of like, oh, like I picked up this easy food for everybody to eat. And it's ho-hos, ding dongs, Twinkies, microwave macaroni and cheese, like things where these are actually the things that are, this is the actual reason why, aside from the mindset is one thing too. She's in a state of despair, which is really,
Yeah.
really freaking hard to get out of, really hard to get out of, especially if you can't move your body. If you are in a state of despair, move your body,
Yes.
move it in any way you can, even if
Yes.
it's just like standing and like flapping your arms like a bird, like
Yes.
for
Anything.
a walk,
Anything, because it moves the energy.
Mhm.
And that
Mhm.
gets everything else slowly moving, and it will help you change your state of mind. Yes.
Yeah.
Thank you.
And it
Yeah.
can help you in 90 seconds.
Yes. Totally.
It's the quickest energy fix that you can get, is to just get up and move.
Move.
So, trying to get out of that despair state, of course, if you need therapy, please do, but in a quick fix, move your body, and you will start to move your mind, and then you'll start to move your energy, and everything else will start to fall in place if you're consistent about it. So I just want to encourage everybody, first and foremost, when you're feeling like you're just, your body is not supporting you and you're constantly getting sick and nothing's ever working and you just have no confidence in your body in that way, to look at your food first. And when you get stuck in the spiral of that downward negative thinking, move your body.
Yes.
And then go back and look at your food again.
which makes, I mean, it makes total sense, Courtney. You know, everything that you've said is exactly what we all need. And if we listen to our, you know, our gut, if we listen to our intuition, if we listen to our bodies, it will tell us what it needs. But, you know, we live in such a world now where, you know, those microwave dinners are so easy. Where it's, you know, we were talking before about, you know, it's so easy to go get a pill.
Yes.
You know, oh, I'm not feeling well, I'll go get a pill, which actually makes me feel worse, but I'll take another pill to overact the effects of the first pill, and then I've got to take another pill to do that, and you start taking a very toxic you know, state of lots of different pills. And rather than just going within and listening to your body and having that confidence, that, you know, that trust that your body knows what it needs.
It absolutely does. And you'll find yourself, once you start moving and you're consistent about it and you're deliberate about it, you'll start craving healthier foods. You'll start craving things that are actually going to give you the building blocks that you need in order to function properly. And it's really interesting. It's really a cool thing that when it's like dominoes, you start something and then the rest will start to fall into place. So it's like, it's just figuring out which one you need to do first. You know what I mean? And it can be different for different people. But I think on this one, I'm going to fall back on the movement piece, because that's the piece that's going to snap you out. That's going to snap you out of that, like, just that terrible, frustrated feeling. And actually, sorry.
And I was going to say, and it's so simple. You know, even if you can't get out of bed, you know, like you were saying, when you went through the symptoms of Lyme disease, it was so hard, even just to get out of bed, to even if you can just move your arms, like you were saying, to start with, you know, and then slowly increase from that. It does change your state of mind.
Absolutely. I wanted to segue into confidence, like actual mental, emotional confidence from here, because whether it be body confidence, or we'll just put those two together for today. Confidence in your body and what you look like. First of all, let's clear our sphere of influence, right? This is actually the first month of my Empowered Living program, is clearing your sphere of influence. And that the reason for that is that if we are surrounding ourselves with naysayers, if we are surrounding ourselves with clutter, if we are surrounding ourselves with negative energy from the TV, from social media, from regular media, from magazines, from whatever, it's really stinking hard to move forward. So the first thing is, like, who are you listening to? What are you listening to? And how, like, actually think about how it's making you feel. How is that making you feel? If it's making you feel like crap, you got to turn it off, tune it out, set boundaries, clean it up, whatever, right? Because otherwise you're just going to be depressed in state, you know, like it's just going to push you down. So you really don't want that. And you want to move into a more confident state. And so moving into a confident state, one of the coolest things, and because especially like social media is telling you what your body should look like, right? I have my own, absolutely have my own issues with this. I actually did a photo shoot for a branding photo shoot for my company like 2 weeks ago. And a bunch of the people who were kind of strangers to me that were going to do it for me, they dropped out, and I ended up last minute making phone calls to 3 of my best friends who showed up like overnight. And it was an incredible experience, because it was the first time that my friends were there to actually support me in my business, which was a beautiful, beautiful thing. But also, like, I brought like a whole huge bag of clothes, and I was trying to figure out what to wear because, you know, I had an idea, but I had something on. I was like, okay, I'm gonna wear this, and they were like, well, I don't know, like I don't really like that. That's not like great. And so I took off my shirt and I had like what I considered to be an undershirt on. Well, all the models wear it as a regular shirt, but it was a very tight sort of spandex tank top thing. And they were like, oh, well, why don't you just wear that with these pants? Which is a totally normal thing to say. And I was like, hell no, you can see my fat rolls. And there is absolutely no way I am doing that because and they were like, what are you talking about? Like, they're like, those aren't fat rolls, Cortney. Those are pant lines. Like, that's just where your pant line is like the strongest. It's creating like that elastic, and it's just like it's a pant line. And I was like, no, absolutely not. I was like, if I see this in my photos of this whole shoot that I just spent so much time, I was like, I will never use them. And I like walked away and I was like, well, welcome to my body dysmorphia. And it's like, okay, I recognize that this is my thing. This is like my soft spot, literally and emotionally, right? But it's utterly pointless. It's completely illogical. Yes, I have fat. I mean, hopefully we all do, because otherwise we're going to die. Like, we have to have it. It is protection, physical. It is protection for our organs. It's nourishment. It keeps the ball rolling. You know what I mean? You absolutely have to have it. It's so important. But we've been taught that it's not. And that's why I think it's so important to manage who you're listening to, and for your children too, to manage who they're listening to and what they're seeing, because the content out there is just insane right now. And to, getting access to it is so easy. But imagine if we can help raise our next generation without them having the sphere of influence be positive and supportive, rather than like, oh, you have to look this exact way, so that's why in creating confidence in your body, it's important to recognize who and what you're listening to and how it's impacting you.
Yeah, absolutely. And thank you so much for sharing that, because it's such a real thing. We all have, like when I say we all, the majority of us in the world see our bodies very different to what other people see them. Very, very different. And it's like having that confidence to go, well, this is who I am, and to accept that this is what my body is, but to really stand into the power of it. And stuff. So how did you actually, if I can ask, like on that day and stuff, how did you overcome that? How did you have the confidence or develop the confidence to go, well, this is my body?
So I'm going to say yes and no, and it's a process. I did choose a different shirt, I think. I'm sure I did. I haven't seen the photos yet. They should be ready any day now. I forgot. You just reminded me. Yes, I haven't seen the photos yet, so I don't know. I don't remember what I wore. I don't even remember. What I am doing, because I do think this is really important, and I do think that I can, as myself, be a voice of support and a voice of reason. And I kind of, in a way, I feel like it's my responsibility through my sole purpose and my calling, that I allow myself to be vulnerable in public. And so kind of my version of embracing it is to say out loud, like I just did, that I am uncomfortable in my own skin. And I'm working on becoming more comfortable in my own skin. And some of it is actually just saying awkwardly out loud, like, I am gorgeous. Like, I am a beautiful person. And like in conversations with people being like, yeah, I know I look great. Or sometimes somebody will give me a compliment. And instead of saying thank you, I'll say I know. Like, oh, you look beautiful today. I know, right? And instead of saying like, oh, this person is giving me external validation and now I can be proud of myself because they think I'm beautiful. I'm kind of trying to flip it. And some people kind of think it's rude. I'm not trying to do it in any way that's rude. But but taking it more as like, I already know this, and it's kind of like a rewiring thing, like a fake it till you make it rewiring of like, oh, you look really pretty today. I know, right? And and kind of like saying like, oh, they're agreeing with what I already believe in myself. Isn't that cool? Rather than, oh, I am pretty today because they said it, which is like, oh, thank you for that compliment. Like, I didn't realize, or I didn't believe that until you said it. You know what I mean? But working on their compliment is cool, and it's great, and it's really nice. It makes you feel good, and I appreciate it. But using their compliment as if I already complimented myself first, and so they're just agreeing with what I've already said.
Yeah, and it's so true, and that is so important, to compliment yourself.
Yeah.
And as well as accepting other people's compliments, because there's so much, that we, when someone compliments us, if we don't have that confidence, if we don't have that self-worth, then we don't accept other people's confidences. But, I love what you're saying, to compliment yourself.
Yeah. And the other thing that I'm trying to do is to be really open and vulnerable on Facebook and like on my social media networks that I'm on, taking photos of myself and putting them out there and being like, hey, I'm in a process right now and I'm so super uncomfortable. Like, I'm actually, as I'm typing this, I'm shaking, and I pressed send. I kind of feel like I'm going to vomit. like this is not comfortable for me. Like, I know you might look at me and you might be like, oh, she's gorgeous and she has it all made. Like, she must not have any problems. She must know this and feel it. That's not true. That is not, I mean, I hope it's true for most people. But it's also, I know that it's not true for so many people, regardless of what anybody else thinks. Like, I mean, you just never know how somebody feels about themselves. And I think a lot of times people do look at me and they think like, oh, she must feel like this because she looks like that. And it's like, well, actually, I don't. And I can identify with you because I don't. And I might not look the same as you, but I still have been brainwashed for 37 years of all of this stuff that I've been listening to and watching on TV and absorbing. And I still think cognitively that I should look like that, and I don't. And I feel shame because of that. And I'm consciously working on changing that because it's an untruth.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
So thank you so much for sharing that. And you did mention a little bit about your program.
Yeah.
Tell us about your program that you're about to start.
So I'm going to tie this into like the actual movement, because the program is called Empowered Living.
Yes.
It is geared towards women in business who have forgotten themselves.
Yes.
How, they've gotten to a level of success, or maybe they're still struggling to get there. But in that process of working really hard in their business, their career, raising their families, they have actually forgotten to take care of themselves. They're looking around and they're like, I forgot I was here, and holy shit, I'm getting, bad news back from my doctors. My back is killing me. I have brain fog. I don't feel comfortable in my body. I don't feel confident in my body. And there's I will put it in the comments, I'll link it, but there's a great TED Talk and a great book by Amy Cuddy, and she's a researcher, and I'm taking pages out of this because movement, actually, when you move, when you make your body bigger, even just standing, arms and legs out, stretching for a little bit, actually changes your physiology. It increases your, testosterone and things like that. just in that moment of making your body bigger. And that makes you more confident and assertive. And so
Yes.
actually by moving your body, even just a little bit, like we were talking about before, it actually changes your physiology, your chemicals in your body, and you actually become more mentally and outwardly, I don't even know how you say that, like in a boardroom, more confident. So I have created a program. It's a 6-month container program. It's a small group personal training style sessions twice a week. And the
Yes.
beauty of it is that we meet twice a week and we go through this movement. We make our bodies big, we build our bodies up, we get stronger, we start gentle, like everything is beginner friendly. And of course, there's modifications up and down for easier and harder, depending on what people need. But the beauty of it is, instead of just regular conversation going on about, the weather or whatever is going on in the world, it is tailored specifically to help women in business get, kind of out of here in the traditional sense and into here back up. So we set an intention in the beginning of the session of what they want to get out of it or what they want to focus on. And then we start our warm up, and I go around and I ask everybody what their wins are for the week. And they get to express that to the group, and we get to celebrate everybody. And then after that, we get to go back around and we ask about the goals and struggles and how we can help brainstorm with people to help make their business or whatever issue that they're having easier to manage, give ideas, all sorts of things like that. And then at the end, we do a somatic meditation where we recall something that was just made us really happy, really joyous, or made us feel really successful. And then we embody that, we feel that in our bodies, we grow that feeling, and we start to rewire our brain for success. And it's just a really beautiful program. And like I mentioned, it is 6 months. The first month through emails, there's like short teachings that don't take very long, but just little tidbits of behind the scenes efforts that you can do to help make your whole body health and wellness just better and better and better. And that's the first one. Second one is dreams and goal setting. Third month is nutrition. Fourth month is exercise, then stress management and reducing our toxic load. So all of the behind the scenes groundwork that you have to do in order to create a holistically healthy life. And then, of course, if you want to dive deeper into any of the subjects, I've got some referral partners that I am happy to refer out to.
Which is wonderful, and we'll certainly put the links to your program. And I'd love to know more about, the TED Talk and stuff that you're mentioning.
Yeah.
That we'll put the links for that in the comments, because, Cortney, you are the embodiment, of healthy living, of positive, you are the absolute embodiment. And I didn't even know that, you were, and you're still experiencing this, the effects of Lyme's disease. And that's pretty deliberating, pretty taxing on us. So it's just amazing to see what you can do when you do work on your mindset, when you do move your body, and when you change the way that you're living, the foods that you're eating to make, eating healthy, eating good, such an important part. Because, I totally agree with you. Whatever we put in our body affects us. So why wouldn't we treat it and feed it as much health as we could if we want to be healthy?
Yeah. Gotta give it the building blocks. The car's
Give
not
it-
going to run without the right gas.
Exactly. Give it the building blocks.
Kerosene in a gas tank. And
Yeah.
that's what we're doing. We're putting kerosene in our gas tanks.
Yes.
And they work for a little while, and then it all just goes downhill, and it's slow.
It all falls
And that's
apart.
why people don't necessarily notice that it's happening.
Yeah.
And it's a shame, because they think that there's something else wrong. They think that there's something else wrong that needs to be fixed. And in reality, it's that they don't have the building blocks to do what their body is trying to do. And so your body tries to take it from somewhere else, and then something else fails.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, I'd just like to really, again, thank you truly, 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 truly thank you. I really love to talk to you. I love chatting with you, and I hope you do come back. But before we go, I said we will be putting all your links in the comments and things. But is there anything else that you would like to share with everyone who's listening or watching the replay?
I think what I hope people can take away is that building confidence in your mind absolutely means that you have to treat your body with love and respect, in a manner of speaking. And once you do that, things will start to get a lot easier. So give yourself permission to really look at, and it could be scary to do this and overwhelming, even though it absolutely isn't overwhelming to actually do it. But to look at it and to be like, oh gosh, I have to make a change, can feel like, oh my God, I don't even know where to start. And a lot of times people come to me with that exact thing. Cortney, I don't, everything is wrong. And I just don't know where to start. And then we go from there and we fix it. But I think really the most, I already said the most important thing, but I think the actual most important thing is that if you are in despair, or if you are in deep frustration or deep unknowing and frazzlement, new word, you can turn it around. You are in control of this. You have the power. You have actually all of the power. And I want to give it back to you now. Like, this is your power. Please take it, because the sphere of influence that you've been in for as long as you've been alive, for most of us, has tried to take it from you. And now you can take it back, because now you know that. And if you are in a funk, dance around, get on a trampoline if your bladder allows it. Mine does not. Go for a walk outside, do some qigong, do absolutely anything you can to just move your bodies and get those endorphins going. And I guarantee you, you will start to very powerfully, from you to you, pull yourself out of that dark place. And it will work every time. You might have to do it a bunch of times, but it will work.
Absolutely. So thank you. Really. And I disagree with everything that you've said. And I said, that's why I love to chat with you and love to know more, because you live a very inspirational life. You know, you've been there, you've had those challenges, you've had those struggles, you're still going through them. It's a daily thing, but it's real. So thank you ever so much for chatting with us today, Cortney. Like I said, it's an honor. It's a pleasure, and it's an honor to talk to you. And I do hope that you come back really, really soon.
Thank you. I appreciate that.